Hi, kids. This is Grandma Sheila, and I'm going to tell you a story today. You know, it's always nice to hear mission stories, and so I thought I would tell you a mission story. This story took place in East Africa, and the story was told so long ago that nobody really remembers the missionary's name. But the missionary he had gotten a call from a doctor friend of his far away there in Africa, and they were having a bad illness going on, and they needed medicine, something awful. And the doctor called and asked the missionary, "Is there any way that you could get the medicine for us? And we're going to have trucks going through down the Zambezi River. And if you could get the medicine there, the trucks could bring it to me." Well, the missionary agreed. He wanted to help people. He didn't want people to die of terrible diseases. So the one glitch in the whole matter was that they had to meet the trucks that night. So the missionary went immediately down to the edge of the river, and there were men there that had canoes, and they would wait for somebody to hire them to go down the river. So he went down and he told this whole group of people, he said, "This is what I need. I need somebody to take me tonight down the river to this certain point, and I will pay the going rate." Well, the different groups of men talked among themselves, and finally the missionary hired a group of 5 men. And he said, "We have to leave as soon as we can because we have to deliver it tonight." So they agreed. So the missionary went back to his house and he got this little box of medicine. Didn't look very big, but it doesn't take a lot of medicine to make people well sometimes. So he went out and he rushed back down to the canoe, and there sat all 5 of those men. They were all sitting in the canoe waiting for him. Well, the missionary, he wasn't very good about getting in and out of canoes, and he picked up his leg and he stood on the edge of the canoe, and the canoe was rocking back and forth. Well, at least he didn't fall in the river. He was able to sit down right in the middle of the canoe, and then he put that box of precious medicine and he tied it down with a rope in the bottom of the canoe, and they were off. African rowers have a way of keeping themselves in sync while they paddle. They sing. Well, these men started singing, "Who's, who's, who's, who's." And every time they said who's, they paddled. And all 5 of them paddled in sync with the who's. Well, the sound of all those who's, and the rocking of the water on the boat, and the warmness of the sun made the missionary tired. And he leaned back, and before he knew it, he was asleep inside the middle of the boat. And who knows how long he slept, when all of a sudden he woke up to the sound of the canoe going bam against the bank of the river. And before he could even know what was going on, all 5 men jumped out of that boat, and they were standing on the bank. The missionary looked around and he said, "We're not there yet, guys. We have a ways to go yet. Come on, get back in and help row. We've got a long ways to go. This isn't where we belong." Well, finally, the missionary got out of the boat and he went over to the head man and he said, "You agreed to take me. I have to be there tonight. Please, please, people are depending on me. The man, he looked at him and he said, I'm so sorry. I thought we could get there faster than this. We failed. You have to wait till tomorrow. He said, no, tomorrow will be too late. Please. They need the medicine tonight. So sorry, Bawana. And that's what they called the missionary, was Bawana. So sorry. We can't. We take you morning. We take you morning. And the missionary, he said, why can't you take me tonight? Well, the man said, he kind of looked around a bit and he said, we're afraid of the hippos. And the missionary said, oh, that's okay. My guardian angel's going to go along with us and he'll protect us. You don't have to worry about the hippos. The man said, so sorry. Can't take you tonight. Tomorrow we take you. The missionary knew he wasn't getting anywhere. And finally he said, I will give you 1/2 shilling. Well, the man's eyes got very big. He said, 1/2 shilling? Why? And he ran over to the other 4 men and he said, he's going to give us 1/2 shilling. And the one man said, I'm still afraid of the hippos. Another man said, you know those hippopotamuses, they can open their mouths great big and go woof. And our little boat will be cut in half and we'll all drown and die. But for 1/2 shilling. And another one of the men said, that's an unheard of amount. That's a lot. So they talked about it. And pretty soon the head man came back to the missionary and he said, all right, for 1/2 shilling, we will take you down the river. So the missionary and the men got in the boat and they started paddling. Well, this time the missionary noticed that their hooves were going faster and faster. Whoos, 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 whoos. And they were really going fast down the river, and the missionary said, we'll sure get there now. Well, all those hooses made the missionary sleepy again. Pretty soon, he heard a noise. He woke up and there was a grunt on the right-hand side of the boat, and there was a grunt on the left-hand side of the boat, and there was a grunt in the back behind the boat. And the missionary thought to himself, oh, what if there's a hippo in front of the boat? But he started thinking about that, and before he even had enough time to figure that out, the boat went poof and hit the bank of the river. And out jumped the men. And they said, can't take you, we take you tomorrow. And the missionary said, but you agreed for 1/2 shilling. I know, but we know the Zambia River better than you. See the hippos? When it gets dark, the hippos all come out. Then there'll be more and more hippos. And they'll eat our boat and we'll drown. No, we can't take you. We can't take you. We take you in the morning, in the light. Okay? Oh, the missionary said, but I can't. I have to have the medicine there tonight when the trucks are there. The missionary talked, and the rowers talked, and they couldn't seem to come to an agreement. And finally the missionary said, well, if you don't trust my guardian angel to protect us, I'll just have to give you more money. How about I give you a whole shilling? A whole shilling, they said. Oh, that was 15 times the amount of money that they would ordinarily get for growing on this journey. 15 times. But that one man, he said, but what about the hippos? I'm afraid of the hippos. They have such big mouths. Well, they went off in the corner and they talked. Together they talked. What can we do? That's an awful lot of money. Think of all the things we can do for our families with that amount of money. Do you think we should try it? So back in the boat they went. Oh, the missionary thought, oh, at least we're going to get there now. Well, they were really going fast now. And now when they went to paddle their boats down that Zambia River, it went hoo, 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 hoo. And they paddled their way all down the river. And the missionary said, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. While the missionary was thinking that all was going well, suddenly, on the right-hand side of the boat, there was grunt, grunt, grunt. On the left side of the boat, there was grunt, grunt, grunt. 3 hippos on both sides of the boat. Grunt, grunt, grunt. 3 hippos on the back of the boat. The missionary thought, what if there's hippos in front of the boat? But the angels are there. Well, while he was thinking about that, sure enough, wham went that boat into the bank. And the men jumped out in fright and they stood there. The missionary could see them shaking. They were so afraid. He said, we're sorry. We can't take you. We'll take you in the morning. Hippo's gone, Dad. We take you in the morning. The missionary said again, but the morning is too late. The trucks are there tonight. We have to go tonight. We don't have that much further to go. Besides, if we turn around and go back, we have to go through all those hippos we already saw. We can't go back. Please, please take me tonight to save the people. The missionary said, I'll give you a shilling and a half. A shilling and 6 pence. Now their eyes were big. That was a horrible lot of money. He said, but I have to get there. Please, I have to get there. And the men went off and they talked about it. They were so afraid of the hippos. There were so many in the river now. But they decided, yes, they would take it. They would take that 1 shilling and a half. Well, they got back in the boat. And they kept going. And then they heard grunt, 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 grunt. 4 hippos on the right-hand side, 4 hippos on the left side, 4 hippos behind. And sure enough, the boat went wham into the bank of the river. And the missionary looked, and he looked in the distance. He could hear the engines of the trucks, and he knew they were there waiting on him. He jumped out of the boat, and he stuck his hand in his pocket, and he pulled out the money he promised them, 1 shilling and a half. And he went to the head rower, and he said, here's the money you worked so hard for. Thank you, we got here in time. Thank you. But he couldn't believe it. The man looked down, And he shook his head from side to side. The missionary thought, this is odd. He went to the next man and he stuck out the money to him. And that rower, he put his head down and he shook his head. And all 5 of them refused to take the pay for the trip. He said, I don't understand. Well, then the head rower came up and he said, Bwana, we saw your guardian angels pushing the hippos out of the way so the canoe could go through. We saw him moving them. We saw the light from him shining so we could see our way. He worked so hard, Bwana. We can't take the pay. Your angel got you here. Well, then the missionary understood. And as he walked with his box of medicine over to the trucks, he thought, God did send his angels. Thank you, Lord, for letting the rowers see them so they would know that you care for us. And you know, the story says that the medicine got there in time to help the people. Isn't God wonderful? Thank you for listening.